The office was quiet that morning, the faint hum of the air conditioner blending with the distant sound of cars passing by. "Hey, what's the matter? I heard you fully recovered," the man said as he tapped his fingers nervously on the desk. "Yes, I've resigned," she replied carefully, adjusting her posture. "But you called me in. What is it about?" He leaned forward, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Do you know James, my son?" Her eyebrows lifted. "I know him, yes. I need your help with something," he said, his voice low. "And I want it done properly." "If it's something good, you'll help. If it's unsavory, I understand if you refuse." She leaned back. "Let's hear it first," he spoke, each word deliberate. "My son wants to marry a poor, uneducated girl." "I need you to send him abroad. Quickly. Make sure it happens discreetly." She paused, weighing her conscience. "I don't know if I can do that," she said softly. "James is a friend of mine. We've known each other a long time." "You'll need someone else." He shook his head, almost impatient. "I'm willing to give you everything, this entire woodworking factory, plus a branch in Van Zon." "You just need to make sure my son leaves the country without being harmed." Her mind raced, considering the moral cost against the opportunity. "And what about Diep?" she asked. "Handle it however you see fit." "I only care about James leaving," he replied. His tone carried a cold clarity that left no room for negotiation. A tense silence fell between them. Finally, she said, "All right. I'll do it, but you must understand, this isn't a small task." The man nodded and left, his intentions clear and menacing. She exhaled, the weight of the task settling on her shoulders like a storm cloud. Meanwhile, in the rural outskirts, preparations for the harvest sale were underway. The weather was crisp, a subtle chill in the air, and the workers were busy inspecting the sweet potatoes, weighing them carefully. Normally, the harvest would be brought to town for sale, one man said, scratching his head. But this year, the elders are unwell, so selling directly from the farm would be cheaper. "All right," the buyer responded, stepping carefully between rows of crops. "Let's settle the price here, then." "How much for the lot?" The farmer smiled faintly. 10 million VND for all of it, harvested directly from the garden. If we transport it to town, it would cost 25 million VND because of labor and logistics. The buyer nodded, calculating quickly. "Seems reasonable. Let's place the deposit first." "5 million VND. the deal was struck, and the field was scheduled for a thorough inspection before the full payment. Everyone knew the harvest had to be perfect. The stakes were higher than just money, they were about reputation, trust, and legacy. Back in the city, Diep was tending to little Nhi, carefully guiding her as she inspected the tiny vegetable seedlings she had planted. You must take care of these plants, Nhi. Only then will we enjoy the fruits of our work, she explained gently, demonstrating how to water and nurture each sapling. Nhi nodded solemnly, her small hands gripping the watering can. Yes, Miss Diep, she said, her eyes wide with curiosity and determination. Even amidst this quiet, the shadows of danger loomed. An elderly neighbor approached, his face etched with worry. Diep, you must be cautious. James's father, he's a dangerous man. He could control your fate, and he will go to any lengths to stop you from marrying James. Be careful, both you and Nhi. Diep's heart sank. She had always known that love in their world was not without obstacles, but the warning crystallized the threat into something tangible. Her mind raced through possibilities, strategizing, protecting, preparing. Later that afternoon, Diep and Nhi walked through the garden, checking the ripening vegetables. The sun was low, casting long shadows across the rows of sweet potatoes, cabbages, and kohlrabi. Nhi held a small basket, her ribbon bouncing in the breeze. Look at this one, Nhi, Diep said, pointing to a particularly large sweet potato. It's a good harvest. Do you think it's ready? Nhi giggled. It's perfect. Together, they moved from patch to patch, laughing quietly as they checked each crop. Despite the looming threats and looming decisions, moments like these reminded Diep of the life she was protecting, not just for herself, but for Nhi and the future they hoped to build. As evening approached, Diep prepared a small meal for Nhi, cutting bread and preparing simple pastries. The warmth of the kitchen contrasted with the cold reality outside. James was abroad, and his father's influence spread far beyond what anyone had imagined. Diep's phone buzzed. A call from James. Nhi, it's Daddy, the voice said warmly through the speaker. I'll be back in 2 or 3 days. Listen to Miss Diep, eat well, and behave at school. I'll bring you a gift when I return. Nhi's face lit up. Yes, Daddy, Diep smiled softly, holding the phone to her chest. Every instruction, every word from James, carried reassurance amid chaos. Yet, the weight of the family feud and the power wielded by James's father hung over her like an invisible storm. That night, after Nhi was asleep, Diep reflected on the day's events. The threats, the negotiations, the harvest, James's absence, all of it pressed upon her heart. She knew the coming days would test her courage and wisdom, challenging her in ways she could not yet predict. And yet, she also knew that love, patience, and vigilance might just hold the threads of their fragile world together. Even in a world ruled by power and fear, Diep and Nhi had a small sanctuary, a garden, a home, and the enduring hope of family. The storm would come, certainly, but the roots they had planted, both in the soil and in hearts, promised resilience.